Well, good, good, good. Okay, man, I got 920. Gang, look, there's so much to be excited about. If you're brand new, you got to hang in there, man, please. And if you're having trouble, give us a call. Talk to me. Get on my calendar and let's talk about it. Let's talk about the struggles you're going through because what you're going to get, let me just predict for you, you're going to have self-doubt. It's good. This business will make you doubt yourself. It'll make you doubt, what did I do? Why did I get my license? You're going to think, how did I get into this? I'm terrible at this. It's not working, right? It's not working, and it's kind of like your first argument after you get married. And you're wondering, did I make a mistake? Right? There are those things that'll cause you to question your decision. But we believe in making the decision the right decision by working through it and working hard. Hard work will always beat your self-doubt any day of the week. You just have to put it in. You got to pay the price, man. I paid the price. All these agents that are on this leaderboard paid a price to get where they're at. You got to pay the same price. You know what I'm saying? How dare you think that you'd pay any less a price than me or less a price than Pablo or Karen Musil or anybody, Mark Dobbins, Kyle Williams? We've all paid the price. We've all had those doubts, but we worked through it, right? And it's hard to do it by yourself. You need to reach out to people that have done it and get their perspectives. That's why going to meetings, getting around the agents will encourage you and uplift you. Getting to our events will encourage you and uplift you. You're going to hear stories of people just like you that managed to overcome. And overcoming is an everyday thing. Just have to make it to the next day. Man, when I got in basic training at the Air Force Academy, the first morning, they knocked our doors down at 5 a.m. in the morning, busted our doors down. They were kicking our doors. Get up, mister, get up. We're going to do a morning run. Get out of that sack. And they were screaming at us. And we didn't know whether to be at attention or run and put our clothes on. They were just screaming at us. And then we had to form up to do a morning run at 5 a.m. It's like, oh my gosh, I was so groggy. I didn't know. I knew something was going to happen in the morning. I thought they were just going to, have an alarm go off, say, okay, knock, 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 time to wake up, fellas. We're going to go do a little morning run. No, man, they knocked our door down like it was like, Armageddon. And they were screaming at us. And we were like trying to anyway. And all I had to do was survive that day. My thought was if I could just get through today and hit the rack, right? And so every day I survived basic training. And then when I got into the squadron, when we got introduced into the squadron, so now we're in our squadrons, right? And we're the freshmen, new smacks and the doolies and the squadron. So my first experience in the squadron as a dually was me and my buddy David O'Mara, who's a Facebook buddy. We got pulled into this 3 degrees room. Who's a sophomore? We call him 3 degrees, and they just didn't like us. They didn't like me because I was Filipino. They didn't like Dave because he was a little bit overweight. Well, by that time he wasn't really that overweight because he lost a bunch of weight during basic training, and so they hazed us for 3 hours, 3 straight hours. We were at a brace, meaning our shoulders were backing down. We had a 3x5 card on our chin that we had to hold up. And if it fell down, I probably can't go into a lot of it. But for 3 straight hours, we were sweating. We were pure sweat rags. And then they made us do push-ups. We had to get up again. They were screaming at us, giving us what they call special instruction, an SI. And talk about, PTSD, that will give you PTSD. Welcome to the squadron, Cadet 4th Class Avian and Cadet 4th Class O'Mara. And to this day, whenever I hear that cadet's name, there are 2 of them. If there was ever unforgiveness in my heart, like honestly, from a Christian perspective, if I ever had unforgiveness in my heart, those two guys would be at the top of the list. Like it really affected me. Like you have no idea. Even talking about it we got my blood pressure up. That was that first day in the squadron, right? And so, you can see where I come from. I don't have a lot of tolerance for wimpy ass people that cry about stuff, that cry about, oh, the leads suck, or this is hard, Alex. Because I think about that kid that got hazed and I survived that. I survived POW camp. I survived getting beat up by these big football players in the quote unquote simulated POW camp that had bruises. They broke a lot of collarbones. Fortunately, mine wasn't, although I thought I had bruises up and down my chest because there's a safe way to beat you. I didn't know there was a safe way to beat, but they taught these football players in the POW camp. What they do is they roll your collar. And the reason why they roll your collar is they can control your head better. So they roll your collar and then they have a figure eight where they beat you on the wall in a figure eight fashion like this. And like these guys were big, so they were picking me off the floor because I was like, 130 pounds, 135 pounds. And they beat me in the wall, beat me in the wall, beat me on the wall. And it got to the point where I tell them anything. I was lying. I was giving up whatever information I could just to have them stop beating me. Then the other thing they would do is they would have a female next door getting beat up, and then they'd have a fake person screaming. And and they would speak in these fake Russian accents and go, you better tell us what aircraft you're flying, or we are going to beat her more. And then she'd be screaming because I'd hear them beat her up. Like talk about psychological. So when someone complains about leads, I don't have much sympathy, right? Because I went through that too. I went through the fear of picking up the phone and I managed to get through it. So as much as I want to be understanding, the stuff I've been through, here's my thought. It's 9:28. You should love your family more than the fear that you have of calling a stupid lead. I'm sorry. I'm getting a little bit hardcore. I promised I was going to be more uplifting, but the more I think about you should love your family more. You should love yourself more than the fear that's preventing you from being great, right? There's not much separating you from being great. It's just perseverance and hanging in there long enough. No matter what you're going through. Look, I survived it. Half our class didn't. We went in with 1,600. We graduated with less than 750 by the time I was a senior. And, granted, not every one of those people needed to be in the academy because I wouldn't want to stake my life on someone that quit. Like, thank God they quit because the people that made it, I could trust my life in their hands. So thank God there's a process of getting rid of the wimpy ass cadets that couldn't stomach being tough and accountability and all that stuff. I don't care. And now they don't haze people, quote unquote. They don't haze people anymore. Here's one thing we used to do with 8 cadets in our own class that weren't conforming. We do a blanket party. You know what a blanket party is? Anyone can guess? So a blanket party is we'd go into their room.
Yes.
Yeah, Scott would know. And what we do is we throw a blanket on, we start beating the crap out of them, like punching them and beating them up, saying, you better get your act together because we as a class aren't happy with your performance because you're bringing the whole team down. And then we'd run out and then they either quit, which is what we were hoping, or they got their act together. Right? Well, that's pretty cruel and brutal. Well, they probably won't let people do that today, which is why the state of the military is the way it is. But here's the deal. Man, calling a lead is way easier than all that stuff I talked about. Then I mean, come on, man. You need help, emotional, emotional, um, to get your emotions in check, give us a call. We will listen to you, I promise. And we will help you overcome it because we figured out all these cool little devices to help you overcome the things that are hard. You know, I mean, look, you don't have to have been able to make it through the Air Force Academy or any West Point or Navy, which was a great game, the Army Navy game, which I respect all those guys and gals. But, you got to drum up inside you why you want to do this and why you're willing to pay the price to persevere, right? And look, if you got to complain, complain to me. Okay. Complaining is evidence of self doubt, of low self image. I I won't go into it, but you know, call us. We'll help you. Like if you think I'm too hard ass, one on one, I'm not a hard ass. Well, depends. Okay. It depends, but mostly I'm not. Okay. But if you want, someone female to talk to you, then you can call Mary, Joy, Jeannie, because they'll be nicer. Well, I'll be nice to you, okay? But I know they'll be nice. They won't. Now I'm getting myself into a hole here. Okay. Look, you can call me. Trust me. Okay. Anyway, man, I appreciate y'all. Keep kicking butt. I cannot wait, Mark, to see what you do next week. And who's gonna top Mark Dobbins next week? I want to know. All right, gang. God bless, man. Appreciate y'all. Let's rock and